quick video while I'm out here doing what I'm doing. I just had a stupid brain fart. Because I mounted the DC-DC charger with those roofing tech screw type jobbies, I thought, oh, I'll get some of me. This is the only thing I had at hand. I couldn't find me red or me, and I didn't want to set up me pump for me clear or me black. So I grabbed some of this, and I thought, I'll just wipe that over the threads and the drill head, and that'll seal it up. I'm an idiot. I've spent so much money on tools and bits and pieces on this ute to do a proper, at least, you know, a halfway decent job for a bush mechanic like me. I mean, I'm not a trained electrician. I'm not a trained mechanic. I may have learnt a little bit of mechanical know-how via osmosis through my father and an old Dutch bloke that worked for my dad out at Blackwater when he was managing wreck air hire out there back in the day, and I worked there as basically a roustabout. I did maintenance on everything from your little gensets right up to vibrating rollers and stuff like that. So I picked up a little bit of mechanical knowledge, and the old fella, this old Dutch bloke, he was very smart. He was the one that taught me that if you're ever going to teach someone how to operate a piece of machinery, he said the very first thing you teach them is how to turn it off, because that's the most important part of a piece of combustion engine machinery, electrical machinery, any sort of machinery that operates and has things that can hurt people. Knowing how to turn it off is the most important thing. And so I've followed that rule whenever I've shown anyone how to operate even a lawnmower. My first thing is I show them how to turn it off before I teach them how to turn it on. It's just common sense. Anyway, back to what I was talking about. Sorry, I went off on a tangent, as I usually do. This was only supposed to be a 30-second clip. Yeah, so I had that gunge on there, and I spent so much money on tools and bits and pieces to do a proper job that I wasn't even thinking. Look at all that. That's heat shrink tube. And have a look at this one. It goes, now, can you see that? Look at that. Just straight over. You warm it up, it shrinks around the screw head and protects your wiring without having to have ugly elastic everywhere. I'm a dumbass sometimes. So there you go. So that's there's a little hack for you. If you're ever doing screws like that and they're going to be in close to wiring, make sure you got some heat shrink. You can even put a couple of layers over, because these come in, you know, they step up in thicknesses. So blah blah blah, you know, right up to sort of this size and this size for your big connecting, you know, heat shrinking around the end of battery terminals and stuff like that. So I got all that. There's all my manuals. Got a terminal kit. It's a cheapy one, but there's heaps of them. I've also got, hang on. Yeah, I've also got quite possibly more fuses than I would need. I've got, this is, don't throw away your nuts and bolts. Find an old tackle box. If you find a nut or bolt or screw on the street, pick it up, take it home, put it in your tackle box. You never know when you're going to need an odd size nut, bolt, or a couple of nuts, bolts and washers that would come in handy. So I've got that one. I've also got another box around here somewhere with a whole bunch of different screws and that sort of stuff in it. Also, when you're pulling things apart, if you're going to throw away something electrical that's no good anymore, like say one of those, you know, these battery chargers, one of these sort of things, when they're beyond their use by date, it's usually that the battery inside has collapsed from misuse or whatever. So you can unscrew these, pull them apart, take the battery out, Take that to your local recycler, you might get a couple of dollars for it. But you can use the battery cables. You can reuse most of the wiring inside. You pull it all away from the PC board that's in there, and away from the battery. There's some heavy duty stuff. This is a heavy duty switch, an isolator switch, so you can use that as an isolator switch. This little thing is a light. It's a bunch of USB, throws a super bright light when it's night time. So you can pull all that apart. Yeah, you pull all that apart and you end up with, well, some of these have come out of, what was it? What did I pull that out? Oh, you know those, your 12 volt battery boxes you put on top of your battery and it's got the regulator and everything on it. Some of these came out of that. That came out of an old wreck. It's heavy duty stereo power cable. These 12 volt fused inlets, they come out of one of those battery boxes, the jump starters. These are the lights. That's that little light bar that's in there. I didn't even think about it when I pulled this one out. I cut the positive wire too short. I should have thought about that, so I'll have to be really careful when I solder a new bit of wire on there. I'll work something out, otherwise, yeah, whatever. Because I think that would make a really cool interior light somewhere. It's quite bright, it doesn't draw too much power. It's all, it's all wired up there, ready to go. So yeah, just chuck a couple of them together. So yeah, I tend to collect bits and pieces. That's the isolator switch, heavy duty isolator switch out of one of those battery doodads. Found this somewhere. It's, another 12 volt input. I'll have more 12 volt inputs than I can think of soon. I pull old relays out of vehicles when they're done, old switches like this. There's a 60 amp circuit breaker switch that came out of a wreck that was had a stereo system in it, and they didn't pull that out. So that push button switch there. So if I ever get some klaxon horns with the Dixie tune, I can go doot 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 doot. Anyway, probably not. That's an old buggered reset switch. I'll have a look at that. I think it's just got crud in it. Needs a good clean out. What else have I found? Oh, there's a temperature sensor that fits this thing. All these little lights, that one, and all these tiny little fellas you can see here. They come out of the old instrument panel that was buggered. So these are all spare instrument panel lights that I can hang on to. Don't throw anything away. Reduce, reuse, recycle, repurpose is the way you go. Whoop, silly thing. What else have I got in here? Why aren't you focusing for me? Come on, focus up. Do your thing, that's better. Yeah, so a bunch of stuff in here. Got my grease gun, got the handle for me pump for me compressor that I bought. I bought a few, hang on, let me give this one a better look at. It's just the box. I bought a couple of these. They're, one will be on the positive cable that runs from the starter battery into the DC-DC charger. The other one will be on the other side I've got to put one out to the inverter, and I've got to put another one out from the positive terminals on the deep cycle batteries. Neighbours are playing music. I bought myself a fire extinguisher, most definitely essential for anyone that's going away camping or anywhere and they're using gas or electricity. You need to have at least a small fire extinguisher like that. I couldn't stress that enough. Oh, and if you're in Australia, have a snake bite kit or a compression bandage either in your glove box or in your pocket when you go camping. I love snakes, but I know that you never know your luck in the big city, you might get hit by one. Okay, now that I've gone off on that tangent, let's do this. I can do this one-handed. I'll just trim it off a bit, and then I'll get back to you, because I really do need at least one hand to hold the phone. I can't levitate my phone yet.